What's up, guys? On this Friday night, the Iceman here on the Jeffrey Rose YouTube channel, aka the Iceman V2013. We are on the eve of November 1st, 2014, and what I'd like to talk about is my thoughts, my opinions about TNA wrestling throughout the course of this year after we had to put up with the loss of AJ Styles, which ran into, you know, January, I think late January of this year, due to tapings, and the loss of many other stars in TNA wrestling like Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, um, Bully Ray is now gone. There's just been a number of stars that have left, and Dixie did want to make it a point that she wanted to go into a new direction. Now, with all that being said, after watching TNA Impact all the way up to this point, after the loss of AJ Styles and Kazarian and Daniels and whatnot, and we saw MVP take over, uh, I thought that was a very interesting part of their year. I think they played into that very, very well with the likes of Bobby Lashley and Kenny King. And then I think the biggest thing for TNA this year was going to New York City to the Manhattan Ballroom. They taped a number of shows there, and what I saw while watching these Impact Wrestling tapings, the fans in New York, which I thought were going to give TNA wrestling a very, very hard time, were more embracing. I was very, very surprised about that because I thought, being in New York City, more in WWE territory. But I think going to New York did wonders for TNA. I think with the loss of a lot of the superstars throughout this past year, 2014 and part of 2013, that TNA and Dixie Carter and whomever, the bookers, the writers, really came up with some sort of game plan, which really, in my eyes, worked out quite well. I think TNA, a lot of people thought after AJ Styles' departure, after losing that belt on that one given night. Oh my God, I'll never forget the night he lost the belt to Magnus. But I thought TNA was in really dire straits, and then of course we lost Alexa Sting, probably the biggest thing TNA ever had, other than Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle and Christian, but and AJ Styles of course as well, who pretty much really was the cornerstone of TNA wrestling in my eyes. I think, excuse me, I think AJ was TNA wrestling, but you know, things happened the way they did. But throughout the course of the year, I think TNA made a number of mistakes. I think there was too many tapings well ahead of time. I think sometimes on their site they revealed information before the actual, you know, uh, match ever happened. So sometimes a lot of people knew what was going to happen before it happened, although the spoilers, of course, are always out there. NoDQ.com was one of the biggest culprits of giving us spoilers for TNA wrestling because, in my eyes, I like Aaron Rift, but And he is down on WWE right now, and really rightfully so. But he was always down on TNA. He always would put a dig in whenever he could. But there's guys like myself, Andre Corbeil, uh, Big Ray Hernandez, and just so many other people out there that really just held on and held on to this hope that TNA would survive through the year of 2014, and they did survive. Um, I didn't care for Bound for Glory being in Japan for the simple fact that it is their biggest pay per view of the year, and a lot of it was showcased with, half of it with Japanese wrestlers, which I have no problem with. And it had to make sense this way for the fact that being the biggest pay per view of the year, roster being so small as it was, they needed to unite with another promotion. And all in all, I don't care what really anybody says about what happened throughout the course of the year with TNA wrestling. I think TNA did what they could, and I think they actually went above and beyond to produce some really great wrestling shows for us, on Thursday and then until they changed over to Wednesday nights. And then, of course, a lot of negativity came around with the talk about Spike TV not renewing the contract for um, TNA Impact Wrestling. And a lot of people are still wondering right now, where is TNA going to be in 2015? Where can they watch it? Um, there's really been no news as of yet. There is news that they have re-signed Kurt Angle because the WWE wanted him, on a full-time basis, and Kurt did not want to for the fact that he knows he doesn't have the ability to do so. And with all that being said as well, with Kurt Angle taking over Director of Operations after MVP, I mean, it it kept interest going within TNA. And Bobby Lashley had a great run um, while he was, there. And I actually was hoping that somebody other than Bobby Roode would have became champion. Nothing against Bobby Roode, because I think Bobby Roode is probably one of their best talents they have in TNA. But he did hold the belt for the longest amount of time ever. Um, and I just thought maybe we would see something a little different, but we didn't. I mean, we saw Eric Young uh, get the title, and he was a fun champion to watch because he defended it every Thursday or Wednesday, and it was just exciting to watch. So TNA really, with all the bad things and all the negative things that happened throughout the year for TNA wrestling, TNA really found a way to make it so fun to watch because I'll tell you, I could not wait to come back. Whether I was working or if I was going to miss a show, I would watch uh, Impact Wrestling the following day, and I was never disappointed. And I was telling my nephew Matt that, this is one thing about TNA wrestling. If you don't read spoilers, you really don't know what to expect. And that was the major difference for me this year with TNA wrestling than the WWE because the WWE is so predictable. Um, when two guys get into that ring on a pay per view, you really know whether it's going to be a no disqualification, or whether it's going to be a disqualification, or who's going to come out on top. I mean, it's just too obvious. And with TNA wrestling, it wasn't like that. Like I said, unless you read the spoilers, I've had some people accidentally, you know, divulge spoilers to me, which sort of like threw me off a little bit. I was a little, I didn't say anything, but I was a little negative about it because I didn't want to know. But for me, this year in 2014, with everything that's happened to TNA wrestling, I think they came out a winner, just like the Iceman. Peace out, everybody. Have yourself a great Friday. Have yourself a great Halloween. We'll see you next time.